My name's Adam Turner, and I'm Principal Conductor and Artistic Advisor here at Virginia Opera, and I'm conducting La Bohème. This is a really traditional version of the story. It's for anybody that has nostalgia about the 1930s and 40s. We're kind of setting it in that time period, but it's a truly traditional production. So what can our audiences expect? What's different about this one than something else? And for me, it's this spectacular cast. We actually are featuring 4 artists that are brand new to Virginia Opera, that have never performed on our stages, including Elaine Alvarez, who has sung the role of Mimi all over the world, Bordeaux in France, in Chicago Lyric, really major opera houses, and this is a world-class artist that we have coming to Virginia Opera for the first time. Additionally, we have returning people like Jake Gardner. Jake was here in 1975 as our first Germain. And here he is 41 years later, debuting 2 roles that he's never sung, that are new to his repertoire. And that's Benoit Alcindoro, those 2 roles. You know, folks often ask me, what is the perfect opera to come and see for the first time? And La Bohème is the one. It's the gateway for me. It's one of the first operas that I ever grew to love because of the resonance of the struggling artists. It was premiered by a really young conductor, Arturo Toscanini, who a lot of our seasoned opera goers will know from directing the NBC Symphony in the 1940s. He actually premiered the piece at the age of 25 as a conductor in Italy. And Puccini himself was in his late 30s, so it's the work of these really youthful masters. And that's kind of what gives me a lot of courage to approach the piece for one of the first times on my own, and also with this fabulous director, Kyle Lang, who's approaching it for the first time himself. And we've assisted the productions before and coached it and worked with singers on it and all of that, and now we're finally getting to put our hands on it, and it's really quite fun. Another thing that I'm always talking about is how opera permeates pop culture, and I remember specifically watching an episode of The Simpsons when I was growing up, and it's an episode I think called The Homer of Seville, maybe, and it's where Homer wakes up from getting hit on the head, you know, one of his dough moments, and he suddenly is an opera singer, and they cast him as Rodolfo in La Bohème in Springfield. I think people will also know a lot of this, the references from 1996's Rent. I mean, huge hit on Broadway when it premiered in 1996, which was actually the 100th anniversary of the premiere of La Bohème. And so it's an adaptation, that's rock music, it's obviously very different, but the story is very similar. And I think people who may have seen Rent, you know, either the movie version or a stage version can come see this and say, hey, it's an Italian, but it's still the same story, and it's still a really attractive cast, and still something that I can relate to. And this is the perfect opera. So one of the exciting things about this piece is that it's not only a chorus show. I mean, there's a huge chorus scene in Act 2, but it's the first time that we're bringing back the Virginia Opera Children's Chorus. And we have 12 kids that are all new to us. They've never been in an opera before, and they've been working with our children's chorus director, Emily Russell, who also herself happens to be a Virginia Opera chorus member. They've been working with her for about 2 months, polishing the Italian and getting it off book and in their memories, and it's been so much fun to see them being introduced to the art form and really just going with it and running with it. They're having a great time and really bringing a lot to the scene. This music is incredibly melodic. There are tunes scattered throughout the show, and another thing is the orchestration is just it's so rich and lush. It's this wonderful landscape that he gives to the orchestra. It's an orchestra of about 50 players, and it's the Virginia Symphony, of course, who we work with all the time. And they're going to play it so beautifully. It's such a rich orchestration, and I'm really excited to see the colors and all the things that we can bring to it to color what's happening on stage, and the romance of the piece. I mean, it's incredibly romantic music, and you'll hear that throughout in the orchestration and then in the melodic structure of the piece. So it's really going to be a great show.